Now, I have created 4 short videos, 21A to 21D, which delve deeper into the topic of emotionally smothering a child. The videos also cover parentified or helicopter children, how parents can hide behind their children, and how stifling and doing too much for a child does not provide them with the necessary life skills. And I explain how and why certain boys can be called fuck boys. Apologies for the swearing, but that's the name. I encourage you to watch them all to see if you recognize your own experiences in any of them. I am Deidré Wallace, a relationship and corporate therapist. The clue is always in the gaze. Point 21A. Were you emotionally smothered as a child? Through years of client observation, it became clear to me that emotionally smothered or overparented or helicopter children often present similar aspects to abandoned children, even though the two narratives may initially appear to be on opposite sides of the scale and experienced differently. Yet, the outcome can be quite similar when examined more closely. Why? Every family develops its own system of operating. Usually, this will get handled in a way that allows all the members to retain a certain amount of independence within the given rules of a family. However, a parent may expect a child to behave in a certain manner that supports even the parent's own emotional needs, fears, or expectations. In so doing, the needs of the child may be put to one side as it learns what is acceptable or not, as it learns what will please a parent. This can be learned very early on because children are like sponges. They absorb everything. It's mostly the unspoken, subtle emotional nuances that get ingested both consciously and unconsciously, not only from what is said, but also from a parent's reactions, responses to everyday occurrences. A child will then glean that in order to retain a certain amount of love and affection, it has to behave in a certain manner that does not rock the family boat. And if a parent is controlling and even a bully, they will force the child to adhere to the strict family rules. Over time, and for the sake of keeping a parent happy, a child will feel emotionally stifled whilst it loses its own power, independence, and usually its self-worth too. Then, if a parent were to lack confidence and wasn't adventurous, they could get nervous if their child were the opposite, fearless and risk-taking. As a result, the child could become ensnared and hedged in by a parent's own insecurities, resulting in warnings and cautions that represent control and also fear. In order to illustrate this further, here is my made-up analogy of little Fred, or Frederica, who gets taken by their mother to the park. Just as he ventures forth and sees a tree he wishes to climb, immediately he gets reminded of his cautious and timid mother-parent standing there telling him not to climb the tree lest he fall and break something. Or he remembers her anxious nature and indeed how frightened or cross she could get if he put her through the worry of climbing the tree. Instead, he realizes that in order to keep the peace, he may have to choose, albeit reluctantly, to acquiesce so as not to upset his mother. He may then choose to sit quietly beside her as he watches the other children do what he so wishes he could do, thereby foregoing his free spirit. But in contrast, other children may have pointed at the tree with their mothers smiling, understanding their child's needs to sometimes take risks as they run towards the tree, looking back for approval, reassurance to do so. And once climbing, their mothers would stand watching quietly, hoping their children would come to no harm. But in the case of Fred, he would just feel left out, and slowly he might become reticent before asking or making decisions, looking first for his mother's approval. Fred, like in the shocking John in video 3, might eventually just give up and withdraw, knowing that he is utterly hopeless to ever ask as the answer would always be no. This would possibly prevent him from experimenting and becoming a separate individual or entity from his mother. At this point, he may realize that if he expresses his genuine, adventurous self, he'll lose his parent, which he relies on for sustenance. Quickly, he also learns to suppress his authenticity because by being himself, his parents may not like him and they may even reject him. He then gathers that by altering his behavior, he'll get rewarded, and slowly he sacrifices his real self in order to keep a parent happy. This could eventually make him angry, resentful, and sad, possibly stifled, not ever having been given the chance to prove himself once, or maybe via many other occasions too. And he'll probably grow up never knowing who he truly is, because who he is got hidden way back as he learned to please so he could be accepted. And to remind you, this example could equally have been of a girl, that is Frederica. So, back to you. Did you experience this? Were any or both of your parents like this, and how has it affected you? Please do use your journal to write down what you may have experienced, as this will help you learn more about yourself, and do comment if you have any questions. Thank you.